We start with the breaking news this afternoon. Just a couple of hours ago, Colorado Springs police releasing some of the body cam video of officers fatally shooting a 19-year-old man earlier this month.
9 Months to Know's Chris Vanderveen has been analyzing this video, and he joins us now to break down the things that you saw. And Chris, unusual for police to release this so soon after a shooting?
Kim, it's been a brief period of time. It shows you to some extent the gravity of the situation. Devon Bailey died nearly 2 weeks ago. For nearly 2 weeks, witnesses have been saying Colorado Springs police shot him in the back. Today we learned that is true, but there is certainly more to the story, and it all started that day with a 911 call about a possible robbery. It starts with a 911 call.
I was walking down the street and some men just confronted me with a gun and they fought me and tried to take my belongings.
The caller provides, among other things, this description.
They were both in shorts and t-shirts.
Minutes later, officers respond to the scene and see Devon Bailey, that's him on the left, and his cousin.
Hey guys, can I talk to you a sec?
18 seconds after an officer said that, Bailey put something relatively small in his shorts.
Keep your hands out of your pockets.
There's more back and forth. Bailey's eyes begin to shift as other officers approach.
Put your hands up for me a sec.
We'll let this next part play out in real time.
So we got a report of two people, similar descriptions, possibly having a gun, all right? So don't reach for your waist.
Bailey continues to keep an eye on an officer approaching him from behind. The moment that officer gets close, this close, Bailey runs. His hands stay down. Let's pause it.
Hands up!
There. We count 8 shots, 8 bullets. Bailey's hit in the back multiple times.
Get down on the ground! Get down on the ground!
They attempt to cuff him, and in the process,
All right, let's check him for weapons quick.
they find what they believe to be a gun. Devon Bailey, at this point, is bleeding heavily. Officers start to surround him. Some have medical kits. His breathing slows. He's groaning. Ultimately, he will not survive his wounds. Bailey's family has hired a pair of Denver lawyers well known for handling police brutality cases, and they held a press conference this afternoon to repeat their call for an independent investigation. In the meantime, we spoke with our legal analyst about the possibility of filing charges against the officers. He said it is not clear that this was a crime, adding the law allows for officers to use deadly force in this type of situation if they believe there is an imminent threat.
Immediacy of the danger to the community is probably the point on which this case will turn, both on criminal charges against the officers and on civil suits against the officers and the city.
Bailey's family does want this to also go to a grand jury. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office was the lead investigative agency on this, and now that they've turned this case over to the DA, it's in the DA's hands. Bailey's funeral service is tomorrow. His family has yet to publicly discuss today's release of the videos, but these are videos that are difficult to watch. The family wants you to see these videos, but at the same time, you get the sense, and Scott talked about it, it shows a little bit for both sides, and I think that's what's going to confuse the situation to some extent.
Well, first, it's very difficult to watch. I mean, to make that very clear. Yeah. Second, Bailey's family's attorney said they don't like the idea of the El Paso County Sheriff's Office investigating Colorado Springs police and vice versa.
And it makes sense from their perspective because the El Paso County Sheriff's Office is located within the city of Colorado Springs. These are two law enforcement agencies that have very, very close ties. And the family says, we want somebody outside to look at this. They also want the state attorney general to look in this as well.
Who can make a decision like that? Can anyone supersede the investigation being handed over to El Paso County, or can someone...
State law allows for El Paso County and the Colorado Springs Police Department to do precisely what they're doing at this moment. They do not, by law, have to hand it over to somebody else. But the Attorney General of the state of Colorado could ask to intervene, and there are other options as well. But right now, they are following the letter of the law.
It's quite a story, and it's you'd think the body cam footage would clear things up, and in some ways it almost doesn't.
Yeah, that
it does and it doesn't, and that's what we sort of expected hearing all the things. But one thing is clear is that Bailey was in fact shot in the back. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is a criminal act. Officers can do this, as Scott said, if there is an imminent threat.
To the officers or the community.
To the officers or the community. And you notice in that video, we don't show it because we wanted to be sensitive to the nature of the video, but in that video, Bailey's hands go down towards his waist. The question is, why did his hands go down to his waist as he was running away? He did have a gun in his shorts. Was he reaching for the gun in his shorts, or was he possibly as innocent of an explanation as trying to hold his shorts up? Those two possibilities are very, very different in terms of how the law will look at it.
We'll likely never know.
We may never know.
And it all plays out in just seconds.
Yeah.
Just seconds.
2 seconds from the time he turns to the moment that those shots are fired. But keep in mind, they were responding to an armed robbery call. They had reason to believe that one of those two was armed.
It is quite a story. It continues as well. But today we learned a lot more. Thanks, Chris.
You bet.